On tonight's Wales at 6. Learning to live a new life. Lily lost her limbs to sepsis. Tonight she pays tribute to her quick-thinking friends who helped save her life.
I do sometimes worry what could have happened had my housemate not seen that my light was still on and that I was awake in the middle of the night.
Also ahead, flash flooding closed roads a week ago. Now the waters have gone, but the travel chaos continues. We'll find out why. Plus, how one of Wales' oldest cinemas is moving with the times to pack in the audiences. And if dancing on ice tickles your fancy, we're with the group helping everyone get their skates on. Hello, good evening. This time last year, Lily McGarry was a young medical student enjoying her uni course and social life with her housemates in Cardiff. But all that changed when she contracted meningitis. What started as a sore throat and cough, which she thought was just a winter flu, rapidly developed into septic shock. Lily had to have all 4 limbs removed as a result. Now the 24-year-old is calling for people to react quickly to symptoms and encouraging vaccination as she shares her hopes to rebuild her life. She's been speaking to our reporter, Verity Wishart.
Thank you. It wasn't obvious that I had something that life-threatening that was about to occur. I had what felt like a cold. I thought it was just general end-of-term kind of sickness.
It's amazing what you've achieved in such a short time. Thank you, Tracy.
This is life for Lily now, learning how to complete simple tasks as a quadruple amputee after contracting meningitis.
She had 7 surgeries in the space of 5 weeks. It pushed her to absolute limit of being able to sort of even survive that process.
The Cardiff medical student survived 2 cardiac arrests and was diagnosed with meningococcal septicemia, a bacterial infection which entered her bloodstream. She was put in a coma, waking up 3 months later.
I was looking at my body and realising what had happened. It was difficult, obviously. Things like having a shower and seeing my body and all the wounds was tough.
Her mum, Jo, remained by her side throughout.
There are days when you wake up and you think, can I do this again today? But you do, because you have to, because, you know, as a mother, that's all you can do.
Lily was unknowingly unvaccinated against the strain of bacteria which caused her infection.
My general message would just be to follow vaccination advice. Just remember that you're not invincible and it could happen to you.
Do you want to try this one? It might be a bit more difficult to grip.
In the gardens of the rehab centre, we took a moment to reflect.
It's hard enough being a young woman in this day and age, accepting your body image without having amputations. My partner tells me that my brain and my heart are still the same, and that is the main thing.
Is the hope to get back to medicine and get back into university?
Cardiff Uni have ensured that offered me a place to continue if I want to next September. So if I'm in the right position with my rehab to do so, I would love to do that.
Her future ahead of her, she shared the following message.
To anyone who's experiencing any kind of illness, be it like acute or chronic or severe or less severe, I think just remember that better days will come.
Well, our health reporter Katie Fenton joins me now in the studio. Katie, so moving to see how Lily is using her experience to raise awareness with others. What can people do to protect themselves from this devastating disease?
Well, there are 2 ways really, John, and that's prevention and knowing the symptoms. Now, sepsis can only happen when you've had an infection, so doing all the things we got good at during the COVID pandemic can be a good place to start. Things like hand washing, good hygiene generally, cleaning, wearing PPE if that's necessary. But some infections are unavoidable, and so it's then about knowing the 6 symptoms that helpfully spell out the word sepsis. So let's take a look at them. They are slurred speech or confusion, extreme pain in muscles and joints, passing no urine in the day, severe breathlessness, people saying it feels like they're going to die. So doctors talk about this feeling of impending doom, and skin that becomes mottled, discoloured or very pale. And if any of those symptoms do occur, then it's crucial to act quickly.
OK. Katie, thank you very much indeed. A former Conservative MP will face trial next year, accused of having a false passport during her time in Parliament. Katie Wallace, who's 41 and from Butetown in Cardiff, was MP for Bridgend and became the first openly transgender MP in the Commons. Wallace, who uses female pronouns and was previously known as Jamie, faces 2 charges relating to the possession of a false passport. She did not enter pleas at Newport Crown Court and will go on trial in November 2026. Welsh vets are urging farmers to get their livestock vaccinated against the blue tongue disease, as the latest figures show that just 3 to 4% of cattle and sheep across Britain have had the jab. In some parts of Wales, that figure is even less. It comes as the Welsh Government today further relaxed some movement restrictions brought in to stop the spread of the virus into Wales from England. Our Rural Affairs correspondent, Hannah Thomas, has more.
1006, hands up, big turn, 1600, 1006, sold at 16.
Most of the animals at the Wales and Border ram sales in Llanelwedd today had the blue tongue vaccination, but the number of animals across the country who've had the jab is very low. So why are farmers so hesitant?
The cost of it. It's such an expense when you've got such a lot of livestock to do. Is the main thing, probably.
It's unknown, isn't it? And I think it makes anyone nervous. It's new, isn't it? It's like anything. It's like the COVID jab when it was new. People didn't know if to do it or not.
Vet Angus Wise is concerned that farmers have forgotten that the midges that spread blue tongue are still active. He's urging vaccination at his practice in Newcastle Emlyn.
I think we've probably got about 15-20% uptake on vaccinations, but it's been quite a hard push to get done, and we've still got a lot of people who are sort of waiting to see what happens. I'd say actually now at the moment we're probably at the most difficult stage. We had a frost this morning, but we've had some very open autumns, very warm autumns, some midge activity, so we could still be having it for another couple of months.
Today's sale is one of the biggest of the year, and despite concerns about the blue tongue virus, prices for the best rams were still riding high.
Well, incredibly, this ram lamb was only born in March this year, but he's brought 20,000 guineas in today's sale. That is a record for John the farmer here. He has, though, been vaccinated against blue tongue.
The disease is constantly being discussed by the National Sheep Association in Wales. It's thought that just 1% of the national flock have been vaccinated so far, but they could not have held today's sales without a vaccination programme.
I don't think we'd have been moving sheep from the restricted zone, i.e. all of England, into Wales without the vaccination. The only alternative to vaccination would have been pre-movement testing. You know, the costs of that are immense. You know, you're talking about £40, £50 a head for that to be done. So the vaccination, it's somewhere around £2.60, £3 a dose, is extremely good value.
2,000, 1,500, 1,000 put them in.
The Welsh Government says it aims to support the livestock industry while maintaining disease control, but some restrictions still remain in place. And with a week of fine weather to come, blue tongue still remains a real threat. Hannah Thomas, ITV News in Llanelwedd.
It's a week on from the flash flooding which submerged cars and closed a major roundabout in Swansea. But tonight it's still closed, and residents and local business owners say not enough is being done to help them. Well, our correspondent Dean Thomas Welch is at the Cwmbwla roundabout for us tonight. So, Dean, the impact still being felt where you are?
Yes, that's right, John. Well, as you can see, it's nice weather, it's blue skies, it's dry, a very, very different picture to what it was like this time last week. Cwmbwla roundabout behind me was more akin to a boat in lake. You even had people swimming in it, paddle boarding in that water. We saw social media posts of people doing that. We also saw cars submerged within the water, and also businesses and homes affected by that sewage water. Well, today I've spoken to some of those businesses. Some have only now just started trading, while other businesses are waiting for the insurers to come and assess the damage caused by that water. Well, today there was a meeting between Welsh Water, Network Rail, Swansea Council and members of Cynfelyn Social Club, and that is because Welsh Water and Swansea Council say one of the main issues as to why the water backed up and caused the flooding here was due to a culvert which was damaged, which is on the land of Cynfelyn Social Club. Now, you may remember a couple of weeks ago I reported on the progress of that club, and what I uncovered was the club had to be knocked down before Welsh Water could get on site and fix the broken culvert.
And Dean, there's also been disruption caused by the closure of one of the main roads into the city centre. What more can you tell us about that nightmare?
Yeah, John, well, look, you can see behind me, one side of that road is still closed off. It's been closed off all week. Swansea Council say they're working round the clock to try and resolve that, or at least get one of the lanes open, because it is a major road into the city centre. Well, Welsh Water have told me that they are working with all their partners to try and get a resolution to this ASAP, and they will start work on the culvert once the club is demolished. The chairman of Cynfelyn Social Club has also told me that meeting that they had today at 2 o'clock this afternoon, that was incredibly positive. He is positive that there will be a solution soon to allow Welsh Water to do the work that they need. But there is still a fear here that if that work isn't carried out anytime soon and the bad weather returns and the rain returns, then we could see a return of the flooding that we saw on Cwmbwla roundabout.
OK, Dean Thomas Welch in Swansea, thanks very much indeed. Still to come, if you've ever dreamed of being Torvill and Dean, then now's your chance. Isn't that right, Jo?
It certainly is. I'm with the skaters, keen to get newcomers back onto the ice. I'm feeling dizzy.
And it seems they will enjoy settled conditions over the next couple of days until this feature makes its presence felt. Join me later for more.
The Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Ed Davey, has refused to say if he personally supports Jane Dodds continuing as leader of his party in Wales. In an interview with ITV Cymru Wales, he would only say that he supports the right of the Welsh Lib Dems to support her. There's been a public rift between the two after Sir Ed urged the Welsh leader to consider her position following a critical report that she'd previously apologised for. Well, he's been speaking to our political editor, Adrian Masters, at the Lib Dem conference in Bournemouth.
Ed Davey thinks his party is marching ahead. After all, he now leads a much larger group of MPs in Westminster. But it's a different tune in Wales, where there's only one MP and one Senedd member. And there's tension with the Welsh leader, after he urged her to consider quitting over a report that criticised her handling of a child protection issue in her previous job, something that she's repeatedly apologised for. I asked him how relations are now.
Well, I haven't spoken for a little while, I'll be frank with you. I've made my comments about the fact that I think she needed to apologise. She's apologised, and that's good, and it seems like she will be leading us into the Senedd elections next May.
Is she the right person to lead the Welsh Liberal Democrats?
Well, the Welsh Liberal Democrats have made that really clear. They support her, and I support the Welsh Liberal Democrats.
But you don't quite support her, that's what I'm getting from your answers.
Well, I made my position clear that I think that she should apologise. She has apologised, and I welcome that.
It sounds like you're distancing yourself from the Welsh Liberal Democrats' decision, from Jane Dodds.
No, listen, I think Jane Dodds has served her community incredibly well over the years, and she will stand for election and no doubt do that again.
Our poll last week showed that the Lib Dems could only win 6% of the vote in the Senedd election next year, maybe only 3 out of the 96 seats available. Is part of the problem that you are seen as a party of England, not a party of Wales?
Well, I think everyone knows that Liberals have been strong over many years in
But not
Wales.
recently.
Not so recently, but we can come back to our previous strength. And I'm really cheered by what David Chadwick has been doing. He's really been a big voice for Wales.
He's the only MP you've got from Wales. Jane Dodds is the only Senedd member. You've seen, I can see the large group of MPs you've got here from England. It looks like two parties.
No, we're great. No, David Chadwick and I get on incredibly well, and I'm really proud of what he's doing. I think our voice in Wales is growing, and I think you will be surprised by how well we do in the Senedd elections. You know, before the last general election, people said we weren't going to win a seat in Wales. Before the last election, they wrote us off. Well, we got our best result for 100 years, and we are back in Wales.
Everything has been coming up roses for Ed Davey, but in Wales, the polls and tension at the top make next year's Senedd election a real challenge. Adrian Masters, ITV News, Bournemouth.
Matt Sherratt has left his role as Cardiff head coach to become Wales' attack coach. The 47-year-old led Wales on an interim basis for 3 games of this year's Men's Six Nations following the departure of Warren Gatland. The announcement comes just days before the new United Rugby Championship season, and our correspondent Richard Morgan is outside the Principality Stadium. Richard, interesting this timing-wise.
Well, John, it's mixed news, really, depending on your allegiances. For Wales fans, this might be seen as a positive. Matt Sherratt has improved Cardiff's attack over the last few seasons, so the prospect of him transferring those skills to the national team might well be welcomed by many. But it's not such good news, perhaps, if you're a fan of the club which plays next door to the Principality Stadium here, Cardiff, who will be going into their first match of the season on Saturday without a head coach. Now, the club have said they'll announce a short-term plan of action imminently, but it's certainly not ideal preparation for the season curtain raiser.
And what does this mean for the national side, do you think?
Well, it means that new head coach Steve Tandy's backroom team is starting to take shape. He already had Danny Wilson on board to take charge of the line-out and the contact area. Matt Sherratt is, of course, a familiar face to followers of the game here in Wales. He was in charge of Wales for 3 matches during the last Six Nations following the resignation of Warren Gatland, and he was also at the helm when the men in red brought their losing streak to an end in the summer in Japan, of course. Well, he'll be hoping for more of the same when Japan visit the Principality Stadium in November, but the other fixtures on the list don't look quite so encouraging, John. Argentina, New Zealand and the world champion South Africa all due to run out here in Cardiff in just a few weeks' time.
OK, Richard Morgan at the Principality Stadium, thanks very much indeed. Now, when's the last time you had a night at the movies? Well, in a world of on-demand telly and box set binging, cinemas are having to work harder to get ticket and popcorn sales up. And one of the oldest cinemas in Wales is hoping to win the title, if Best Independent Cinema in Britain. The Magic Lantern in Towyn showed its first film in 1901, but has moved with the times to still offer a blockbuster experience more than a century on. Rob Shelley has been to find out more.
124 years ago, a showman called Arthur Cheetham turned up at the Assembly Room in Towyn, stretched out a very big sheet and showed the town's first film. And ever since, exactly the same place has been showing not the same film and doing pretty much the same thing. Welcome to the Magic Lantern. Do we know the first things that got shown on?
Yes, we do. It was some newsreel of the Boer War.
Ah, this place has survived from the 1900s onwards. There's always been a little thread of just keeping on, hasn't there?
Yeah, and it's summed up in our motto, which is like written across the front of the balcony, which is everything will be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end.
Even the story of how the current co-owner, Jeff Hill, and his business partner came to buy this place would make a pretty decent film, possibly an Ealing comedy. How on earth do you come to own a cinema in Towyn?
It was a whim.
It was a whim over 15 years ago.
You bought a cinema on a whim?
Oh, well, absolutely. Me and a friend had a reasonably good year at our real jobs, and no one was looking at buying independent single-screen cinemas. I have no idea why. So we thought about it in the pub on the Saturday, had a look at it on the Monday, made an offer on the Tuesday, and 2.5 weeks later we're running a cinema.
So the sofas have names. This one is called Peter Cushion. The one behind is called Settee Davis, and the one behind that is Sofa Lorraine.
Come and watch a film in a cinema, you are invested 100% in watching that film. You can just let go of your worries and your stresses, even if it's only for an hour and a half.
Sometimes we need a 40-foot Judi Dench to take us out of ourselves.
Everybody needs a 40-foot Judi Dench.
Goodness, and for the full report, head to ITVX. You can find us by choosing categories, then news, and select Wales. You can catch up with the latest news on all your favourite programmes like Coast and Country and Sharp End. It's the same on your smartphone, on your phone or smart TV. Now, a reminder of our top story. A 24-year-old Cardiff University student who had all 4 of her limbs amputated after contracting sepsis is urging people to act quickly if they have suspected symptoms. Lily McGarry fell ill with meningitis in January, which left her in a critical condition. She says the sooner you can seek help, the better.
I do sometimes worry what could have happened had my housemate not seen that my light was still on and that I was awake in the middle of the night. As when I did end up in A&E, things took a turn for the worse quite rapidly.
And there's still plenty ahead after Wales at 6.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, the Chancellor's extraordinary allegation. Rachel Reeves accuses the Russians of being behind cyber attacks which have hit some British businesses. The Duchess of York is dropped as children's charity patron over leaked Epstein emails. And happy birthday to ITV. We take a look back at 70 years of memorable moments. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, a Flintshire ice skating club is synchronising its efforts to make the sport accessible to everyone. The group in Deeside is trying to get the membership numbers sliding upwards after they dropped during the pandemic. So they're appealing for more wannabe Torvill and Deans to join them. Well, our reporter Joanne Gallagher is there for us tonight, but you're not getting your skates on, are you, Jo?
No, I've got some very special shoes. They're known as grippers, and I'm not going to be venturing too far. I'm certainly no Torvill or Dean, but they are finding some new members here, and they're doing very well. Deeside Leisure Centre, of course, closed during COVID because it became a hospital and a vaccination centre. Numbers fell through the ice rink, so to speak, but they are back on the up, and I'm here now with the chair of Deeside Skating Synchronised Club. Lindsay, I'm really pleased that you're here with us today. Tell me how things have improved for you.
It's been amazing. We came back after the pandemic with barely one team, and now we have 5 teams. And we go right from a development team right through to our D-lights that we're skating behind you. And we also have just introduced Wales's first inclusive skating team, which is just amazing.
And you've got members here from 10 years of age all the way up to their 50s.
We have. It really has been our mission to make sure that we can bring synchronised skating to everybody, and we're pretty much getting there.
And it's popular because we've got someone very special here. Stephanie, you've got a few skating medals to your name, haven't you? Tell me about that.
I started skating when I was about 14. I do something called inclusive skating competition, so basically anybody with any disability can do it. Mine is heart, stroke and learning and autism. I have got 68 medals and 7 Olympic medals.
Yeah, that is fantastic, and you're still helping out here on the ice, aren't you? It's brilliant because membership is going up. It's brilliant. I'm going to bring in Harriet and Millie. Come on, you're going to have to skate to me, girls, because I'm walking very, very gingerly. I'm telling you now. Millie, I'm going to start with you first of all. Tell me how you got involved here.
I just started from a young age.
And I've seen you skating around. I was absolutely petrified. You were fantastic. You enjoy doing it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
And you coach now?
Yes, I coach development.
And Harriet, you're also involved, aren't you? You're with a sort of premiership team here, really?
Yeah, and I like voluntarily help coach out when they need it.
And it's great to have something to do, I think, isn't it? Get you out the house?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and be in a team and stay active.
It's absolutely brilliant. Well done. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that this ice does not crack or that it's melting because my shoes are feeling a bit sticky. I wish you could see our camera up behind the camera. He's doing a great job.
I bet he is. Joanne and Co, thank you very much indeed. Time for a look at the weather forecast now, and well, it's been quite a bright day for most of us, nice and crisp. Des can tell us if it'll stay that way.
Today's forecast, blue skies, followed by a spread of hot and cold plates. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hi, great to see you. This morning when I stepped outside, it certainly was a bit of a chilly start. Certainly autumnal feel, crisp, dry and bright, and the winds fell light. So yes, it was a fairly pleasant day. You'll notice a temperature change, and that temperature stays with us, those low temperatures for the rest of the week. When you compare them to what we saw last week, saw temperatures in the early 20s, so there's a massive drop. But it is high pressure, it's a dominating feature, so our weather story, certainly for the next 48 hours, is fairly stable. Then we take a look at this system moving in from across the Atlantic. Squeeze on the ice bars, it's going to get a touch breezier, naturally wetter as well. We'll see that cloud sweeping in and then that rain on Friday if timings are correct. So like I say, that high pressure is dominating. It's going to stabilise the air, clear spells, allowing temperatures to fall away, maybe just some, maybe mist starting to be created, maybe some grass frost as well. But to the far north of our patch, similar to what we saw this morning, we've got that cloud giving way to a touch of drizzle and showers. Heading into tomorrow morning, another beautiful day. The main change, though, is we'll see a little bit more in the way of cloud developing earlier on in the day, and that cloud thick enough for a touch of drizzle. Temperatures around 15 degrees, a similar day as high pressure continues to dominate on Wednesday. And like I said, once we get to the back end of Thursday, that's where things start to change. I should point out, today is the autumn equinox at 7:19 precisely. Centre of the sun crosses the Earth's equator, 12 hours of daylight. I will leave you with the summary. So the first few days of this week are settled and dry, and by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, expect a touch of rain.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Yeah, definitely feels like autumn, doesn't it? That was Wales at 6. I'm back with your late headlines after the ITV News at 10. Until then, thanks for watching.